Gaming is actually the only thing holding a lot of people together. When you get so many things thrown at you in life that's out of your control, the moment you pick up the controller, it feels like it brought back a personal sense of power within a lot of people. When you're constantly dealing with instances where you feel like it's just out of your reach, it's just out of your control, things are happening back to back, you don't know the answers, just things is just happening to you, that game will probably bring you some type of, peace because you actually have decision. You actually have control over what's going to happen and the play of certain things, like the sequence of events. Gaming also brought community to a lot of people. As somebody who was a nerd growing up, I got bullied a lot. And I was by myself. I had difficulties making friends because I was locked in my room playing Call of Duty, editing my gaming videos, and posting on YouTube. That was the routine. But the moment I started getting into those Xbox Live party chats, those PlayStation parties and stuff like that, I was making friends. I was making friends with people online who didn't get the opportunity to judge me based upon their perception of me and how I acted. Like they only got my personality because that's all that you could get through the internet. You only got what I was showing, and since I didn't feel like they could do anything to me, that they what their opinions didn't really matter, I was being myself a lot more, which means I was making a lot more friends. It was like I was just calmer. And it literally was like I got pushed into that circumstance. But yeah, that's why I always tell people, like, bro, when you see gamers going through like these periods where they're just like, it seems like that's the only thing that they're focused on, you have to consider that they more than likely tried to get a grasp on other things in their life and they fell through. It didn't work, or it's not going in the ways that that they wanted to. And with men in particular, because there's a lot of men gamers, but there is a uprising of, women gamers. So this goes for you guys too. But a lot of the times we don't have avenues to express ourselves. We hold in a lot of things. So that sends a lot of men into like this anxious state of being where they can't even think straight. So the easiest thing for them to put their mind on is the video game. When you have a million different thoughts going through your head, you're just trying to focus on one of them. And unfortunately, if you don't have the self-esteem or the courage or the confidence, whatever the case may be, to go after some of the more important ones, you're probably just going to start playing the video game unless you attach it to like streaming and content and stuff like that. Then it's beneficial. But a lot of men and a lot of women nowadays are not playing the video game just to, make content, make a living, actually build a brand around it. They're playing it for escape. They're playing it because that's the only place that they can go to where their mind turns off, where all the worries about the world seemingly go silent, and all they have is the game that they love playing and their homies and homegirls in their ear laughing it up. That's why gaming is so important, but could be so detrimental if you don't pay attention to it. Because like I say in a lot of these other videos, the ones who usually become heavy gamers, they got put into those circumstances because of isolation. They needed something to put their mind on because they were bored and they didn't necessarily have anybody to go talk to, go play with, whatever the case may be. Those type of individuals in those space, they have brilliant minds. They have minds beyond belief, because to play a video game, you have to actually use certain parts of your brain that a lot of people will never tap into. Whenever you start seeing people be like, oh, you're just playing video games, nothing cool, whatever the case may be like, here, I want you to take this controller and do what I just did and see how their body like shuts down, like they start malfunctioning in real time. Next thing you know, they're staring at their fingers, their hands are moving slow, they're getting stuck in real time. Gaming is not something that everybody can do, unfortunately. But if you don't realize it, you're just going to think that it's, some childish thing, people need to grow up, whatever the case may be, until you run across the people who are doing it and they're rich. Let me remind you, money flows to people and things that are somewhat a little bit difficult to do. If everybody was able to do it, it wouldn't have the amount of income behind it that it has. Hence why these gamers and stuff like that are banked up in the way that they are. You literally have to be crazy to a certain extent to actually sit there and grind a game out. Especially growing up in a place where my father wasn't in the household and my mom was at work all the damn time. I didn't feel like I had really anybody to talk to. I didn't have any outlets. I didn't have anything like that. So when I got on the game and I was talking to people across the world, all different ages, different races, different things, just people, I felt like calmer. It's like, okay, I'm getting bullied at school. These people don't like me that much. My parents are I don't know, like they're trying their best, but they're really in their own worlds. And the only place that I necessarily have to like calm my mind without me getting ultra depressed and wanting to just take myself out is to play this video game. And that's actually why I got so good at Call of Duty. That's why I joined the 1v1 leaderboards. That's why I started getting ranked on gaming. And that's why I started playing the game and getting hella cracked at it. I was competing at it, bro. I was making money off Call of Duty at a certain point. Like, it really got to a point where I was the only thing that I was doing because that was the only thing I could do. And from that, all the other blessings in life started coming. The editing, me learning how to do visual effects as a kid. Y'all think when people see my degree and stuff like that, it'd be like, oh, he went to school for it. He's pretty hard. My brother, if y'all really understood, I very first started editing when I was like 12, 13 years old with a very old laptop. When I say that, I would have to edit a video, and it was a crappy quality, and I would have to let it render for almost a full 24 hours. I would sit there and take 3 days trying to edit it because every single thing that I would do, my computer would freeze. And then when it was finally time to render that thing out in Sony Vegas, I had to sit there, plug it up, and just wait. And that video wasn't going to be done until days later. That was a grind. I had to teach myself animation and visual effects through those circumstances. So when I grew up and it came to the point where it's like, okay, I feel like I'm going to keep getting forced to go to college. Yep, I'm choosing this. And that's why I got the degree in that. All of these things played out and it's playing out the way that it is from fucking Call of Duty, from gaming. I am a gamer and people don't seem to understand that. I didn't understand that for a second. Because the people around me, they start telling you like, oh, gaming is terrible. Like, oh, you're lazy. You need to get off your ass. You need to go get a job. All this other stuff. But I'm like, Mama, I'm trying to be a gamer. Get a fucking job. Like, damn. So then I went down that whole route of trying to kill myself, trying to get clients and do all this other type of stuff when it's like, bro, if I'm being truthfully speaking, I don't want to do any of this. I just want to post my Call of Duty videos. I would love to stream. I would just love to make content because that's what I actually got into this for. I didn't get into this for the photography, for the directing, for all that. I didn't do any of that. That just kind of happened. What I chose was content creation, was Call of Duty, was making these videos. So I mean, life played out in a way where that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm so happy life played out in the ways that it's playing out because I actually have the space to do what the fuck I'm asking to do, right? But damn, man, if I would have let all the pressure, which I kind of did. Well, like I said, I posted on my IRL channel, I made a delivery to the Faze house a couple of days ago. Not even a couple of days ago, yesterday night. And that like sparked it blew my mind because like I was driving through the neighborhood and I'm like, yo, these houses is amazing. I see security outside. Also, I don't think nothing of it until I drive back, because I had to make a U-turn and I see the Faze logo. Man, I started crying. I started literally having an adrenaline rush. Like, oh my God, because when you see that these things are real, like everything's cool, it's all fun and dandy, you be seeing it on the internet, they be live, they be streaming and all sort of type of stuff. But when you're actually in the environment and you see that is real, like, whoa, this is the Faze house. You guys are live inside of here. I don't know which Faze house it was. It was off of Mulholland Drive, somewhere over there. They're the ones who literally inspired me to get into what I'm doing was inside of that house. Probably. And just to be that close in proximity showed me like, wow, it's possible. What I was hearing and what I was letting influence my decision making growing up wasn't necessarily truth. They are living fire as hell. As somebody who grew up in LA, not in the good parts of LA, where what gaming got them to is out of this world. And it needs the respect that it deserves. Because it is amazing to see people who were nerdy like me, nerdy in every facet, what was pushed out of every group possible because they just didn't fit in, get to the point where they balling like that. Penthouses, mansions up in Beverly Hills because they decided to say, fuck what everybody else is saying and thinking, I'm about to play the game. Man, you know how much pressure, how much of a loser you feel when you're just playing the game and you don't got results? But them niggas did it. That is an inspiration. Faze Clan is an inspiration. Period. So yeah, with that being said, y'all, I'm done talking. I love y'all. I love y'all. If y'all gaming, keep doing y'all thing. If you want to get into it, get into it. You never know what may come from it. And if you stop doing it, pick it back up, even if it's just a hobby, just a little spare time because it helps. It really does help with our mental health. As men, women, just the nerds. We needed a way to flex too. We didn't want to rap. We aren't good at sports. Too skinny, too fat, whatever the case may be, too short. We needed a way to do it too. That didn't require us going to get degrees and being doctors and all. Like, come on, we needed a space too. And gaming, content creation, streaming gave us that space. It evened out the playing field. So yeah, man, I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next video, man.